Part 1. The Unexpected. Inheritance. Marcus Chen sat in the hard plastic chair outside the lawyer's office, staring at his worn sneakers. The morning rain had soaked through them, and his socks felt cold and damp. He checked his phone for the third. Time in 5 minutes. The message was still there, as impossible as it seemed. Your Uncle Reginald Chen has passed away. You are named as his sole heir. Please contact our office immediately. Uncle Reginald. Marcus could barely remember the man. He had visited maybe 3 times when Marcus was a kid, always wearing expensive suits, always carrying strange gifts from places Marcus had never heard of. His parents called Uncle Reginald the crazy one, who disappeared for years at a time on business trips. Mr. Chen? A woman in a gray suit appeared at the office door. Mr. Harrison will see you now. Marcus followed her into a large office with windows overlooking the city. Behind a massive wooden desk sat an elderly man with kind eyes and silver hair. Please, sit down, Mr. Harrison said, gesturing to a leather chair. I'm sorry for your loss, though I understand you and your uncle weren't close. Not really, Marcus admitted. I mean, I liked him when I was little, but he was never around. What exactly did he leave me? His apartment or something? Mr. Harrison's eyebrows rose slightly. Mr. Chen, your uncle was quite wealthy. More than you might imagine. He opened a thick file and pulled out several documents. Your uncle owned Chen Interstellar Trading Company. It's one of the largest shipping and commerce operations in this sector of the galaxy. Marcus blinked. Galaxy? What do you mean, galaxy? Your uncle established trade routes between Earth and 12 different star systems, Mr. Harrison explained calmly, as if he was talking about local trucking routes. His company ships goods, resources, and technology across hundreds of light years. The business is worth approximately $47 billion. The words hit Marcus like a punch to the stomach. He gripped the arms of his chair. That's impossible. Uncle Reginald sold insurance or something boring like that. That was his cover story, Mr. Harrison said with a small smile. Your uncle was actually humanity's first successful interstellar businessman. He spent 30 years building relationships with alien civilizations and establishing Earth as a trusted trading partner. Marcus felt dizzy. Aliens? Real aliens? Very real, Mr. Harrison confirmed. And here's where things get complicated. He pulled out 2 more documents. Both looked official, covered in strange symbols alongside English text. Your uncle signed these diplomatic marriage contracts 25 years ago, Mr. Harrison explained. They were necessary to establish trade relationships with 2 powerful alien governments. The contracts state that the Chen family heir must marry representatives from both civilizations to maintain the business relationships. Marcus stared at the papers. The symbols seemed to shimmer and move in the light. Marriage contracts? You mean arranged marriages? Exactly. Your uncle thought he would have time to figure out an alternative solution, but Mr. Harrison spread his hands helplessly. Both governments have been waiting patiently for 25 years. When your uncle died last week, they immediately sent their representatives to Earth. They're waiting downstairs right now. They're here? Marcus's voice cracked. Now? The Altarian representative arrived yesterday. The Keplerian representative landed this morning. Both are expecting to meet their intended husband today. Marcus stood up so quickly that his chair nearly fell over. This is crazy. I can't marry aliens. I don't even have a girlfriend. I'm still in graduate school. I understand this is overwhelming, Mr. Harrison said gently. But there's more you need to know. These aren't just business arrangements anymore. Both alien governments are facing serious internal problems. If these marriages don't happen, they might withdraw from all trade with Earth. That would mean losing access to their advanced medical technology, their energy systems, and their space travel capabilities. What kind of problems? Marcus asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. The Altarian civilization is experiencing what they call a creativity crisis. Their people have become so focused on efficiency and logic that they've lost the ability to innovate. Their entire society is stagnating. Mr. Harrison flipped to another page in the file. The Keplerian moon colonies are caught in a series of honor feuds. Their warrior culture has turned inward, and they're on the brink of civil war. And marrying me is supposed to fix that? Your uncle believed so. He studied both civilizations for decades. He thought that human unpredictability and emotional intelligence could help both cultures solve their problems. That's why he chose you specifically as his heir. He chose me? What do you mean? Mr. Harrison pulled out a handwritten letter. Your uncle left this for you. Marcus took the letter with shaking hands. Uncle Reginald's familiar handwriting covered the page. Marcus, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and you're probably confused as hell. I know this seems impossible, but everything I've told you is real. I spent 30 years among the stars, and I learned something important. Humans have gifts that other species have lost or never had. The Altarians are brilliant, but they've forgotten how to dream. The Keplerians are honorable, but they've forgotten how to forgive. You studied psychology because you want to help people understand each other. These two species need that more than you can imagine. I picked you because you're the only person in our family who actually listens when people talk. You see problems as puzzles to solve, not battles to win. The women waiting downstairs aren't just political arrangements. They're people who need what only a human can give them. Trust yourself, kid. And remember, the best solutions are usually the ones nobody else thought of. Your crazy Uncle Reginald Marcus read the letter twice before looking up. He really planned all this? Every detail, Mr. Harrison confirmed. Even down to timing your graduation so you'd be available. Your uncle was a remarkable man. A soft chime sounded, and Mr. Harrison's secretary's voice came through the intercom. Sir, the representatives are asking if Mr. Chen is ready to meet them. Marcus felt his heart hammering. What are they like? The women, I mean. I've only met them briefly, Mr. Harrison said. The Altarian, Zara, seems very intelligent and direct. She's been studying human culture and appears excited about the collaboration. The Keplerian, Lysa, is more reserved. Her people value strength and honor above all else. She sees this marriage as a sacred duty to her clan. Do they look human? Mostly. Zara has crystalline patterns in her skin that glow softly when she's thinking. Lisa is taller than most humans with silver markings on her face and hands. But they're both definitely humanoid. Marcus walked to the window and looked down at the busy street. Normal people going about their normal lives, with no idea that aliens were real and waiting in the building below them. What happens if I say, no? He asked quietly. Both governments would consider it a grave insult. The trade agreements would end immediately. Earth would lose access to technology that's advanced our medical and energy capabilities by decades. And both civilizations would likely face the internal collapse your uncle was trying to prevent. Marcus closed his eyes. When he was little, Uncle Reginald had always told him stories about faraway places and people who needed help. Marcus had thought they were just made-up tales. No pressure at all, Marcus muttered. There is one more thing, Mr. Harrison added, carefully. Both representatives have been briefed on human courtship customs. They understand that humans prefer to develop emotional connections before marriage. They're prepared to get to know you first. Marcus turned back to face the lawyer. You mean they're okay with dating? In their own ways, yes. Though their definitions of courtship might be different from what you're used to. Marcus took a deep breath. His whole life had just been turned upside down, but somehow Uncle Reginald's words in the letter made sense. He had always wanted to help people understand each other better. Maybe this was just a bigger version of the same thing. All right, he said finally. Let's meet them. Mr. Harrison smiled and pressed the intercom button. Please send up our guests. As they waited, Marcus smoothed down his damp hair and tried to calm his racing heart. In a few minutes, he would meet two alien women who expected to marry him. His uncle had somehow arranged for the fate of multiple worlds to rest on Marcus's shoulders. The office door opened and Marcus's new life began. Part 2. Cultural Collision. The first thing Marcus noticed was how quiet they were when they entered. No footsteps on the carpet, no rustling of clothes. They moved like dancers, graceful and controlled. The woman who entered first had to be Zara. Her skin looked almost normal from a distance, but as she came closer, Marcus could see the crystalline patterns running along her arms and face. They pulsed with a soft blue light, like veins made of starlight. Her hair was white blonde and her eyes were the color of deep ocean water. She wore a simple gray dress that somehow looked more expensive than anything Marcus had ever owned. Behind her came Lisa. She was tall, at least 6 feet, with broad shoulders and confident posture. Silver tattoos covered her dark skin in intricate patterns that seemed to tell a story Marcus couldn't read. Her black hair was braided with small metal ornaments that chimed softly when she moved. She wore what looked like formal military dress, dark blue with silver buttons. Both women looked at Marcus with intense curiosity, like scientists studying a new discovery. "Marcus Chen," Zara said, and her voice had a musical quality to it. "I am Zara Telkathan of the Altarian Science Council. Your genetic and psychological profiles are most interesting." "Profiles?" Marcus squeaked, then cleared his throat and tried again. "I mean profiles?" "Your uncle provided extensive data about your capabilities," Zara explained, her crystalline patterns brightening. "Your academic performance in psychology, your problem-solving approaches, your emotional intelligence quotient, all very promising for our upcoming intellectual merger." Lisa stepped forward and placed her fist over her heart in what was clearly a formal salute. "I am Lisa Valkorian, third daughter of the High Mountain clan of Kepler 442b. I greet my intended battle partner with honor." "Battle partner?" Marcus looked nervously between the two women and Mr. Harrison, who was watching with barely concealed amusement. "In Keplerian culture," Lisa explained, "marriage is a warrior's bond. Together we face the universe's challenges as one fighting unit. Your uncle's records show you have the tactical mind and brave heart suitable for such a partnership." Marcus sat down heavily in his chair. "Look, I think there's been some kind of mistake. I'm not brave or tactical or intellectually merger-ready. I'm just a regular guy who can barely handle his student loans." Zara's patterns flickered faster, which Marcus was starting to realize meant she was thinking hard. "But your psychological profile indicates high empathy and creative problem-solving abilities. These are exactly the traits our civilization requires. And your academic focus on conflict resolution shows warrior wisdom," Lisa added. "You study how to end battles without unnecessary bloodshed. This is the highest form of strategic thinking." Mr. Harrison leaned forward. "Perhaps you three should spend some time getting to know each other. I'll have my assistant show you to the company penthouse. It's been prepared for your stay." "Stay?" Marcus's voice cracked again. "They're staying with me?" "The contracts require a courtship period," Mr. Harrison explained. "Both cultures expect you to get acquainted before the formal ceremonies." An hour later, Marcus found himself in an elevator heading to the top floor of a building he apparently owned. The penthouse was 3 times the size of his tiny apartment, with floor-to-ceiling windows showing the city skyline. The furniture looked like it belonged in a magazine. "This is temporary," Marcus said, more to convince himself than the others. "Just until we figure out what to do." Zara was already examining the entertainment system, her patterns pulsing as she somehow interfaced with the electronics without touching them. "Fascinating. Your species still uses such primitive visual displays for information transfer." "It's not primitive," Marcus said defensively. "It works fine." I did not mean to offend, Zara said, turning to face him. Her patterns shifted to a softer, warmer color. I am still learning your cultural communication methods. On Altair Prime, we share information directly through neural links. Individual opinion-based responses are unusual for us. Lysa had walked to the windows and was looking out at the city. So many people living so close together. On my world, clans maintain proper territorial spacing to avoid honor conflicts. Honor conflicts? Marcus asked. When groups live too close. There are disputes over resources, territory, breeding rights, Lisa explained. These lead to feuds that can last generations. It is why I was selected for this mission. My clan hopes that learning human methods might help end our current wars. Marcus felt a headache coming on. What kinds of wars? Currently, my people are engaged in 47 separate clan feuds, Lysa said matter-of-factly. Most started over minor insults or territorial disputes decades ago. But our honor code requires that every offense must be answered with greater offense. The conflicts only grow larger. That's terrible, Marcus said. Lisa looked surprised. It is the way of warriors, though... She paused, looking thoughtful. It does consume much energy that could be used for other purposes. Zara had moved on to examining the kitchen appliances. Our situation is less violent but equally problematic. Altarian society has achieved perfect efficiency in all systems. Our cities run smoothly, our production meets all needs, our citizens are healthy and educated. That sounds pretty good to me, Marcus said. It is also completely stagnant, Zara replied, her patterns dimming. We have not created new art in 50 years. No new music, no new literature, no new architectural designs. Our scientists only refine existing technologies. We have optimized ourselves into creative death. Marcus walked to the couch and sat down. This was all too much. So let me get this straight. Your people are too efficient to be creative, and your people can't stop fighting long enough to build anything. And somehow marrying me is supposed to fix both problems? Your uncle believed so, Zara said, sitting across from him. Her patterns brightened again. He spent years studying both our civilizations. He said humans possess something we have lost. What's that? Chaos, Lisa said, settling into a chair with military precision. Controlled chaos. Humans make decisions based on emotion and instinct as well as logic. You create art from suffering. You forgive enemies and make them friends. You break rules that no longer serve you. These abilities seem impossible to us, Zara added. Altarian logic suggests that emotional decision-making leads to suboptimal outcomes, yet humans consistently achieve results that pure logic cannot. Marcus rubbed his temples. Look, I appreciate that you both traveled a long way to meet me. But I can't just marry two people I just met. That's not how humans work. We understand, Zara said quickly. Your uncle explained human courtship customs. We are prepared to engage in the getting-to-know process. Dating, Marcus said. We call it dating. Dating, Zara repeated, her patterns flickering as she processed the word. The systematic evaluation of romantic compatibility through shared experiences. It's not systematic, Marcus protested. It's supposed to be fun, natural. You spend time together and see if you click. Click? Both women said the word at the same time, then looked at each other with what might have been the beginning of mutual understanding. It means when you feel comfortable with someone, when you enjoy their company, when you can be yourself around them, Marcus explained. Lisa nodded slowly. Like choosing battle partners. Warriors who fight well together have this clicking. And research partnerships, Zara added. Scientists whose minds work well together achieve superior results. Yes, I understand this concept. Marcus felt a tiny spark of hope. Maybe this wasn't completely impossible. So we take some time. get to know each other, see if we're compatible. But not too much time, a new voice said from the elevator. A man in an expensive suit stepped out, followed by two others who looked distinctly non-human despite their human-style clothing. Mr. Chen, the man said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I'm Ambassador Williams from the State Department. These are Representatives Quantel from Altair Prime and Corian Vex from the Keplerian system. The Altarian representative's entire body seemed to glow with agitation. The courtship period cannot exceed 30 Earth days. Our internal situation grows more critical daily. The Keplerian's silver markings darkened. My clans grow impatient. Honor demands resolution. If the human continues to delay, we may consider it an insult to our ancestors. Marcus felt the walls closing in around him. 30 days? At most, Ambassador Williams said. Both governments are under serious pressure from their populations. They need to show progress, or they might withdraw from all Earth agreements. After the officials left, the three of them sat in uncomfortable silence. Finally, Zara spoke up. Perhaps we should approach this systematically. What activities do humans typically engage in during the dating process? Marcus looked at both women, one glowing with crystalline patterns, one marked with silver war tattoos, and wondered what his uncle had been thinking. Well, he said slowly, we could start with dinner. Part 3. The Human Advantage. 3 weeks later, Marcus was beginning to think this might actually work. He sat at his uncle's massive desk, reading through journal entries that explained everything. Uncle Reginald hadn't just been a businessman, he'd been a student of alien psychology. His notebooks were filled with observations about both cultures, theories about human nature, and detailed plans for how Marcus could help. Day 1, 847. The Altarians are incredible mathematicians, but they can't understand why humans cry at movies. Today I showed Commander Zeltar a comedy film. She calculated the exact probability of each joke's success, but couldn't explain why some made her laugh anyway. That's the key. Humans don't always follow logical patterns, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Day 2, Wasano 3, spoke with war leader Corian about human forgiveness. He cannot comprehend how we pardon enemies who have wronged us. Does this not encourage further attacks? He asked. I tried to explain that sometimes mercy makes former enemies into the strongest allies. He looked at me like I was insane. Maybe I am, but it works. Marcus closed the journal and looked out at the city. In 3 weeks of dating, he'd learned more about alien cultures than he'd ever imagined possible. More importantly, he was starting to understand what his uncle had seen in him. The apartment door opened, and Zara walked in carrying a stack of books from the public library. Her crystalline patterns were bright orange, a color Marcus had learned meant excitement. "Marcus," she called out, "I have discovered something wonderful." "What's that?" Marcus asked, closing the journal. Zara spread the books across the coffee table. They were all about human art, painting, sculpture, music, poetry. "I have been studying your species' creative processes. Look at this." She opened a book about abstract art and pointed to a Jackson Pollock painting. This painter did not plan his designs. He simply created. No mathematical formulas, no optimization algorithms. Pure creative chaos. "Yeah, that's kind of what art is," Marcus said, sitting beside her on the couch. "But that is impossible." Zara's patterns shifted to rapid pulses of blue and white. "How can you create beauty without calculating optimal aesthetic ratios?" "We don't calculate it," Marcus explained. "We feel it." The artist painted what felt right to him in that moment. Zara stared at the painting for a long time. Her patterns slowly shifted to deep purple. A color Marcus had learned meant she was processing something difficult. "On Altair Prime, all art must serve efficiency," she said quietly. "Our sculptures are designed to optimize traffic flow. Our music is calculated to improve work productivity. Our architecture follows mathematical principles of space utilization. That sounds pretty sterile, Marcus said gently. It is. Zara's patterns dimmed. When I was young, I used to create small metal sculptures in secret, abstract forms that served no purpose except they made me happy to look at. My instructors found them and had me undergo psychological correction. They punished you for making art? They helped me understand that personal satisfaction is less important than societal benefit, Zara recited. But her patterns showed she didn't believe it anymore. Marcus felt a surge of anger on her behalf. That's not help. That's control. Before Zara could respond, the elevator opened and Lisa stepped out. She was wearing casual human clothes now, jeans and a t-shirt, though she still carried herself like a warrior ready for battle. Her silver markings had grown more intricate over the past 3 weeks, spreading in new patterns that Marcus didn't understand. The city library security guard attempted to prevent my entry, Lisa announced. I informed him that knowledge belongs to all warriors. He agreed. You didn't hurt him, did you? Marcus asked, alarmed. Of course not, Lisa said, looking offended. I simply explained the principles of intellectual honor. He found my arguments persuasive. Marcus was learning that Lisa's idea of explanation could be pretty intimidating. She had the ability to make her point without violence, but her presence alone was usually enough to end disagreements. What were you researching? Zara asked. Lisa pulled out several books about conflict resolution and peacemaking, human methods of ending disputes. Marcus, your species has developed techniques that my people consider impossible, such as truth and reconciliation processes, mediation systems, restorative justice. Lisa sat down in her usual chair, but her posture was less rigid than it had been weeks ago. These concepts suggest that enemies can become allies without either side losing honor. That's the idea, Marcus said. But how? Lisa leaned forward intensely. In Keplerian culture, every offense must be answered with greater offense. To do otherwise shows weakness and invites further attacks. Marcus thought about it. Over the weeks, he'd learned that Lisa's people were trapped in cycles of revenge that had been going on so long that nobody remembered what started most of the feuds. What if strength wasn't about hitting back harder? Marcus asked. What if it was about being strong enough to break the cycle? Lisa's silver markings darkened with confusion. I do not understand. Okay, let me tell you a story, Marcus said. There was this guy who worked at a company where everyone hated each other. Every department blamed every other department for problems. Sound familiar? Both women nodded. So this guy, let's call him Dave, decides to try something different. When someone from accounting blamed his department for a mistake, instead of blaming them back, Dave said, "You're right, we could have communicated better. How can we fix this together?" That would be seen as admission of weakness, Lisa protested. But here's the thing, Marcus continued. The accounting person was so surprised by Dave's response that they actually started working with him instead of against him. Pretty soon, other departments noticed that Dave's team got better cooperation from everyone. Because he showed strength through vulnerability, Zara said suddenly, her patterns brightening with understanding. He achieved superior outcomes by refusing to follow the expected pattern. Exactly, Marcus said. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to fight. Lisa was quiet for a long time, her markings shifting through different shades of silver. Finally, she spoke. This would require tremendous courage. To break generations of tradition, to risk being seen as weak. But if it worked, Marcus said, you could end the feuds. Your people could use their energy for building instead of fighting. And your people could rediscover creativity, Marcus said to Zara. What if making art wasn't about efficiency? What if it was just about making something beautiful? Zara's patterns cycled through several colors before settling on warm gold. The council would consider this heretical. Maybe, Marcus said. Or maybe they're ready for something new. You said your civilization is stagnating. Maybe they're looking for solutions too. His phone buzzed with an urgent message. Marcus read it and felt his stomach drop. What is wrong? Lysa asked, immediately alert. Ambassador Williams wants to meet with us tomorrow, Marcus said. Both your governments are demanding an update on our progress. The mood in the room instantly grew tense. They'd all been avoiding the reality that their time was running out. They will expect a decision, Zara said, her patterns dimming, to worried blues. And if we cannot provide one? Lysa's markings shifted to deep, angry silver. Marcus stood up and walked to the window. Down below, the city continued its normal life, unaware that the fate of multiple worlds might depend on his next decision. What if we don't give them what they're expecting? Marcus said suddenly. What do you mean? Both women asked. Marcus turned, back to face them. Your governments want traditional marriages to solve traditional problems. But what if the problems need untraditional solutions? That is a very human way of thinking, Zara said, her patterns brightening with curiosity. It is also very dangerous, Lysa added, but Marcus could see the interest in her silver markings. My uncle didn't just leave me a business and marriage contracts, Marcus said, pieces of the plan finally falling into place. He left me a chance to help both your worlds, but not by following the old rules. He picked up his uncle's journal and flipped to a page he'd marked earlier. Marcus, if you're reading this part, then you've figured out what I really wanted you to do. The marriages were never the real solution. They were just the beginning. Both civilizations are ready for change, but they need someone to show them it's possible. That someone is you. Trust your instincts, kid, and remember, sometimes the impossible is just something nobody has tried yet. Marcus looked at both women. Are you ready to try something impossible? Zara's patterns pulsed bright white with excitement. Lisa's markings shifted to determined silver. What do you have in mind? They asked together. Part 4. The Impossible Solution. The conference room at the State Department was bigger than Marcus's entire apartment had been a month ago. Ambassador Williams sat at the head of a long table, flanked by representatives from both alien governments. The Altarian delegation glowed with impatient energy, while the Keplerian group sat like coiled springs ready to attack. Marcus walked in with Zara and Lisa beside him. He carried a tablet loaded with the proposal they'd worked on all night. His hands were sweating, but his voice was steady when he spoke. Thank you all for coming, Marcus began. I know you're expecting me to announce which marriage contract I've chosen to honor. Indeed, said Representative Quantel, her crystalline patterns flickering rapidly. Our civilization cannot wait much longer. The creativity crisis deepens daily. Our artists produce nothing but efficiency reports disguised as poetry. War leader Corian Vex's silver markings darkened. And my clans grow restless. 3 new feuds began this week alone. If the human shows weakness by continuing to delay, we will consider the contract void. I understand your concerns, Marcus said, activating his tablet. But I'm not here to choose between the contracts. I'm here to propose something better. The room erupted in angry voices from both sides. Ambassador Williams held up his hand for silence. Mr. Chen, the contracts are quite clear. You must choose one spouse from each civilization to maintain the trade agreements. But what if the trade agreements aren't enough anymore? Marcus asked. What if both civilizations need something bigger than marriage contracts can provide? He touched his tablet, and a holographic display appeared above the table, showing 3 interconnected star systems. 3 weeks ago, there was a resource dispute in the Gamma sector, Marcus continued. The mining colony on Kepler 438c was running out of rare metals. The Altarian Science Station needed those same metals for their research. The local human settlement was caught in the middle. We are aware of this situation, Quantel said impatiently. It is being handled through normal diplomatic channels. Normal diplomatic channels have been failing for 6 months, Marcus replied. The dispute was escalating toward armed conflict until yesterday. Lisa stepped forward. Yesterday we solved the problem. We? Corian Vex's markings flashed with surprise. You acted without clan authorization? I acted with human and Altarian cooperation, Lysa said firmly. We demonstrated that our 3 species working together can achieve what none could accomplish, alone. Zara activated her own device, and the hologram shifted to show mining operations and research facilities. Altarian efficiency analysis, combined with Keplerian resource extraction expertise and human mediation skills, increased metal output by 340% while reducing environmental impact by 60%. More importantly, Marcus added, we did it without anyone losing face or honor. The Keplerians got recognition as the sector's premier mining experts. The Altarians got their research materials plus new efficiency techniques. The humans got a peaceful solution that protects their colony. Ambassador Williams leaned forward. That's actually quite impressive. But how does this relate to the marriage contracts? Marcus took a deep breath. This was the crucial moment, because we've discovered that the real solution isn't about honoring old agreements. It's about creating new partnerships based on what each species does best. He gestured to Zara and Lisa. Zara has been teaching Altarian scientists about productive inefficiency, how sometimes the best solutions come from unplanned experimentation. Their latest art installations are the most popular cultural events on Altair Prime in 50 years. Zara's patterns glowed with pride. Human concepts of happy accidents and creative mistakes have revolutionized our approach to innovation. We are creating things we never thought possible. And Lisa has been working with Keplerian clan leaders on honor-based mediation, Marcus continued. Instead of feuds that destroy both sides, they're developing honor challenges that build communities. Lisa's silver markings brightened. We have ended 12 separate clan conflicts using human restorative justice principles. Warriors are finding honor in building rather than destroying. Representative Quantel's patterns shifted to confused blues and greens. This is fascinating, but it does not address the political necessity of the marriage bonds. Actually, it does, Marcus said, because we're proposing a 3-way cultural alliance that's much stronger than any marriage contract. The room fell, silent. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat as he waited for their response. Explain, Corian Vex said finally. Marcus activated the final part of their presentation. The hologram now showed complex trade routes, research partnerships, and cultural exchange programs connecting all 3 civilizations. Instead of 2 separate marriages, we established the Tri-Species Cooperation Council, Marcus explained. Altarian, logic and technology, Keplerian strength and honor, and human creativity and mediation, all working together on a permanent basis. The economic benefits alone would exceed current trade agreements by 500%, Zara added, displaying calculations that made the Altarian delegation gasp. And the honor gained from leading such an unprecedented alliance would echo through Keplerian history for generations, Lisa said, making several warriors nod approvingly. Ambassador Williams studied the data scrolling across the hologram. The projections look incredible, but what about the political stability? Marriage contracts create permanent bonds. This alliance could be dissolved if any party changes their mind. Not if we do it right, Marcus said. The alliance wouldn't be based on legal contracts. It would be based on mutual benefit and shared success. Each species gets what they need most, and together we become stronger than any of us could be alone. Quantel's patterns cycled through several colors before settling on thoughtful purple. Our people have been requesting more cultural exchange programs since the art installations began. Perhaps this proposal would need approval from the High Council of Clans, Corian Vex interrupted. Such a decision cannot be made by individual representatives. We know, Marcus said. That's why we're asking for permission to present this directly to your governments, not as a replacement for the marriage contracts, but as an evolution of them." "And if they refuse?" Ambassador Williams asked. "If they insist on the original terms?" Marcus looked at Zara and Lisa. They'd talked about this possibility all night. "Then we honor the contracts," Marcus said. "But we believe both civilizations are ready for something bigger. They've seen what cooperation can accomplish. They've felt the benefits of combining our different strengths." Lisa stepped forward. "I will speak for this alliance before the clan council. I have seen human courage and Altarian wisdom work together. My people will understand the honor in such a bond. And I will present our findings to the Science Council," Zara added. "The creativity renaissance we've experienced proves that cultural cooperation produces optimal outcomes." The room buzzed, with quiet conversations in multiple languages. Marcus watched the representatives conferring with their advisors, trying to read their body language and energy patterns. Finally, Representative Quan Tell spoke. "The Science Council will consider this proposal, but they will want guarantees. How do we know this alliance will remain stable without the personal bonds of marriage?" "Because we're not just proposing an alliance," Marcus said, sharing a look with both women. "We're proposing a family, not bound by law or tradition, but by choice and shared purpose." "A family?" Corian Vex's markings shifted to surprised silver. "The idea, 3 of us have chosen to work together," Lisa explained. "Not because contracts demand it, but because we complement each other's strengths. That bond is stronger than any legal requirement and more flexible," Zara added. "Marriage contracts are static, but friendship and partnership can grow and adapt as our civilizations change." Ambassador Williams was quiet for a long moment, studying the 3 of them. "And personally, are you 3 happy with this arrangement?" Marcus felt a warmth in his chest as he looked at his unlikely partners. "Happier than I ever imagined possible." "We will present your proposal to our respective governments," Quantel said finally. "But understand, if they reject this alliance, you must be prepared to honor the original contracts." "We understand," Marcus replied. "But we think they'll surprise you. Change is scary, but sometimes it's exactly what everyone has been waiting for." As the meeting ended and the representatives filed out, Marcus stood with Zara and Lisa looking out at the city below. "Think it will work?" Marcus asked. "Unknown," Zara said, but her patterns were hopeful gold. "But the probability of success is much higher than I initially calculated." "If it fails, we face the challenge together," Lisa added, her markings steady and confident. "That is what battle partners do." Marcus smiled. "Then let's see if we can change the galaxy." But as they left the building, none of them noticed the dark ships entering Earth's atmosphere or the message being broadcast on encrypted channels. "The humans have gone too far. Time to remind them of their place." Part 5. Humanity Rising. The emergency alert came at 3 in the morning. Marcus woke to find his apartment's communication system flashing red, with Ambassador Williams's urgent voice filling the room. "Marcus, we have a situation. Please report to the embassy immediately. Bring Zara and Lisa." Within an hour, they were standing in a secure briefing room, watching holographic displays of space around Earth. Dozens of dark, angular ships hung motionless just outside the solar system's defense grid. "The hegemony," Ambassador Williams said grimly. "An alliance of 12 older civilizations who've controlled galactic politics for the past 3,000 years. I know of them," Lisa said, her silver markings darkening with concern. "My people have always avoided their attention. They crush civilizations that grow too powerful too quickly." Zara's patterns flickered with rapid calculations. "Their technology is significantly more advanced than anything in our databases. But why are they here?" Ambassador Williams activated another display showing intercepted communications. They're demanding that Earth abandon all alliances with younger civilizations and submit to hegemony oversight. They consider your tri-species alliance a direct threat to galactic stability. Because it shows other species don't need the hegemony's permission to cooperate, Marcus realized. We're proving that small civilizations can solve big problems on their own. Exactly, Williams confirmed. They've sent an ultimatum. Earth has 24 hours to dissolve all alien partnerships and accept hegemony protectorate status, or they'll use force to restore proper order. The room fell silent. Marcus stared at the alien fleet on the screen, each ship larger than anything humanity had ever built. How many people know about this? Marcus asked. Just the world leaders and key diplomatic staff, Williams replied. We can't risk panic. And our governments? Zara asked. Have Altair Prime and the Keplerian systems responded to our alliance proposal? They received preliminary approval this morning, Williams said. Both the Science Council and clan leadership were impressed by your presentation, but now they might withdraw their support to avoid hegemony retaliation, Lisa finished. Marcus walked to the window, looking out at the city where people were starting their normal daily routines. Coffee shops opening, commuters heading to work, children walking to school. None of them knew that everything might change in the next 24 hours. What if we don't give the hegemony what they expect? Marcus said suddenly. What do you mean? Williams asked. Marcus turned back to face the room, his mind racing with an idea that was either brilliant or completely insane. They expect us to either submit or fight. What if we do neither? Explain, Zara said, her patterns shifting to intrigued colors. The hegemony controls through fear, Marcus said, pieces of the plan forming as he spoke. They stay in power because smaller civilizations believe they have no choice but to obey. But what if we show the galaxy that there is another choice? Lisa's markings brightened with understanding. A demonstration, not of military strength, but of the alternative we represent. Exactly, Marcus said. We broadcast our story to every civilization in the galaxy. Show them what cooperation can accomplish. Let them see that the old way isn't the only way. Ambassador Williams looked skeptical. Marcus, that's incredibly risky. If the broadcast fails to gain support, we'll have done nothing but anger the hegemony further. And if we submit, we lose everything anyway, Marcus pointed out. At least this way, we go down fighting for something we believe in. Zara was already working on her portable device, calculations streaming across the display. It is possible. Using the tri-species communication network we've been developing, we could reach approximately 847 civilizations simultaneously. My people's honor code requires that we stand for our beliefs, Lisa added. I will speak for the Keplerian clans. They will not abandon allies who fight with courage. Williams was quiet for a long moment, weighing their options. Finally, he nodded. I'll need to clear this with the President and UN Security Council. But if they approve, how quickly can you prepare this broadcast? Give us 6 hours, Marcus said. They worked frantically, reaching out to every contact Uncle Reginald had made in 30 years of interstellar business. The response was overwhelming. Civilization after civilization agreed to receive the broadcast, many sharing their own stories of how human cooperation had helped them solve problems. The mining colony dispute they'd resolved turned out to be just the beginning. Human traders and diplomats had been quietly helping species across the galaxy, using the same principles Marcus had discovered: creativity, forgiveness, and the willingness to try impossible solutions. As the broadcast time approached, Marcus stood in the converted studio they'd set up in the embassy. Cameras would beam their message to hundreds of worlds simultaneously. Zara and Lisa flanked him, representing their civilization's commitment to the Alliance. 30 seconds, the technician called out. Marcus took a deep breath. You two sure about this? If this goes wrong, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. "We are already in trouble," Zara said, her patterns calm and confident. "At least this way we face it honestly. Better to stand together and fall than to kneel alone," Lisa added, her markings bright with determined silver. Going live in 3, 2, 1. Marcus looked directly into the camera. "My name is Marcus Chen. 4 weeks ago, I inherited my uncle's business and found myself engaged to 2 remarkable women from different alien civilizations. Today, I want to tell you why that changed everything." For the next hour, they told their story. Not just the facts, but the emotions, the challenges, the moments of understanding that had brought 3 different species together. They showed recordings of Altarian artists creating their first unplanned sculptures in 50 years. They displayed data from Keplerian clans working together instead of fighting. They shared testimonials from dozens of species who had benefited from human-style cooperation. "The hegemony wants you to believe that order requires submission," Marcus said as the broadcast neared its end. "That cooperation means conquest, that different species can't work together as equals. We're here to prove them wrong." Zara stepped forward. Altarian logic suggests that diversity creates stronger systems than uniformity. When different approaches combine, they produce solutions that none could achieve alone. Keplerian honor teaches that true strength comes from lifting others up, not keeping them down, Lisa added. "The greatest warriors are those who create peace, not those who enforce it through fear." Marcus looked directly into the camera again. "In the next few hours, civilizations across the galaxy will have to make a choice. Keep accepting the old ways because they're safe, or join us in building something new. Something based on mutual respect instead of dominance. Something that lets every species contribute their unique strengths." The broadcast ended, and they waited. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The first message came from the Tau Ceti system. "Standing with the Alliance." Then Proxima Centauri. "The hegemony's time is over." Within 2 hours, over 400 civilizations had declared their support for the Tri-Species Alliance and called for a new galactic council based on cooperation rather than control. The hegemony fleet, faced with the choice between attacking hundreds of allied worlds or accepting change, chose to withdraw. Their final transmission was brief. "This is not over." But Marcus knew it was. Not the conflicts or challenges that would surely come, but the old way of doing things. The galaxy had seen what was possible when species worked together as equals. 6. Months later, Marcus stood on the observation deck of the New Geneva Station, the first tri-species space station built in Earth orbit. Below, representatives from over 200 civilizations worked together on everything from medical research to artistic collaboration. "Your uncle would be proud," Zara said, joining him at the window. Her patterns had grown more complex over the months, incorporating new colors she'd discovered through her art. "He knew this would happen," Lisa added, approaching from the other side. Her silver markings now included intricate patterns that told the story of their alliance, the first new addition to Keplerian honor tattoos in generations. Marcus smiled, watching a group of young humans, Altarians, and Keplerians working together on a project he couldn't even identify. "I think he just knew that given the chance, people, any people, will choose cooperation over conflict." "And love over law," Zara added softly. "Partnership over politics," Lisa agreed. Marcus looked at his 2 partners, friends, allies, and something more that didn't need a traditional definition. Uncle Reginald had been right about everything, including the most important part. The best solutions were usually the ones nobody else had thought of. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but they would face them together, and that made all the difference.